in this part of the world are under assault.
By whom?
By the technology essentially doing two things: assaulting cultures, assaulting traditions, corrupting minds, and I think creating tensions between the state and civil society and people. We are no more in control. So these are threats to society which the tech people have essentially completely overlooked, because the tech narrative is the Western narrative about freedom.
We have a wide variety of technologies that people are working with. We have people who are working on emotion recognition, which is one of my favorites. And then there's people who are working on pattern recognition through behavior, which I find really compelling. There's also consumer EEG, there's biosensors, biodata, neurofeedback, biofeedback. We actually track 11 different areas of technology where people are able to either measure, influence, or stimulate human psychology.
You know, I have this computer, and I had it for quite a few years. And it knows everything about my life. It knows my schedule, my travel plans, my emails, the presentations I did, everything. But it hasn't come to the point where it actually is able to interpret the information that it's processing so that it could help me in my daily life. So for example, if I would be able to ask the computer, you know, we had this thing about half a year ago where somebody asked me about a specific technology. And he says, yeah, I looked at it into as well, and I even Googled it and put together some charts for you, and here's the history, and I found 2 videos on YouTube. Let's take a look at it together. That sounds like science fiction to many of us right now, but I would argue within the next 5 years, we will look at computers in a totally different way than we are looking at PCs or computers right now.
I worry about a perfect storm because the technological disruption that I'm thinking about here is going to unfold over the next few decades. And of course, other things are going on as well. We have climate change happening. In Europe, you've got an enormous problem with migration now. I mean, these are all things that are happening all at once. And the problem is that they're going to interact and impact each other and maybe even make each other worse. You know, as people are fearful of losing their jobs and becoming unemployed, they're going to be a lot less focused on things like climate change. They're going to be, you know, culturally more conservative, so they're going to be more opposed to migration than they might be normally too. So all these things relate together and are going to, you know, evolve into bigger problems. So I think it's very important to take a kind of a holistic view and realize that if you're worried, for example, about climate change, you should also be worried about inequality. You should also be worried about the fact that technology over the next couple of decades could really reduce economic security for a lot of people. Because as that happens, those people are no longer going to be on your side and willing to fight to do something about climate change because they're going to be focused on their immediate problems. So it's really important to sort of consider all of these things together and how they potentially could interact.
You have to think about the consequence. Those machines don't come up with new ideas, you see? People come up with the new ideas. And many of the factories that employ our robots, so we install our robots, and you know, it's fantastic, they're working. But several months later, we go back there, they've made modifications to make it more efficient or make it more safe. If something goes wrong, it flashes, you know, those people do, you see. So you have to embrace the technology, but you have to always think what you can do better with the technology. Otherwise, just like I don't know how to start the fire without a match or a lighter, human skill gets worse and worse. You think, oh, we have a lighter, so you don't have to think about it to start the fire. But all of a sudden, the liquid is gone. You can't even light the fire, you see. So I think that just too much reliance on the machines and technology, to me, is not good.
You know, you're on a treadmill, and the treadmill is accelerating. As we get faster and faster, it creates greater and greater anxiety and greater and greater dissociation, I would say, among many people. It's produced fantastic things for us. I mean, this is our dilemma. It's phenomenal. I mean, let's face it, email's wonderful. My iPhone is great. Google Maps, marvelous. All these things are great, but they're driving us nuts. And the question is there any way we can limit any of this? Can we have our cake and eat it too? And I have become quite pessimistic that, until recently, by the way.
You know, we used to define sanity by being able to differentiate between what's real and what's not real. Pretty soon we're going to need a new definition because as human beings, we're having a lot of trouble detecting that. So whether we call it augmented reality or virtual reality or other just digital enhancements of what exists around us, we have trouble because of our our wetware, right? We haven't had a material upgrade in the last 200,000 years, right? In terms of our our wetware capability, we get a new one of these every 12 months. So it's our ability to react to some of the complexity that's been infused into our society and our world is being tested, and that's why I feel like we're continually enhancing our own abilities, and then getting to this point where we need to start to evaluate what does it mean to be conscious, and are we enabling ourselves to address Maslow's lower tiers and then allow ourselves the opportunity to self-actualize and explore consciousness and what life is and what it means.
We spend so much time and money studying information about outer world, what's happening, this car, this system, this technology. But we have no idea what is going on inside of right here. Each spine, there's a hole, there's a tremendous amount of energy, chi energy, push and pull, and the 7 chakras, and the bones, and proteins and cells and skin and all this phenomenon, this universe happening right here. Yeah, we are constantly searching from outside. Your consciousness living in a different place and your body is right here. So it's so important to bring your mind into your body and be in your body, because without this container, your consciousness is not gonna survive.